Hey guys, today I wanted to chat about some eyeshadow palettes from Jordana, and I don't know how many of you actually have access to Jordana's full line in your stores. I know some people do. Around me, Walgreens is the store that carries Jordana, but it's just like a small amount. You get some lip liners, some lip glosses, a few eyeliners, and that's kind of the extent of it. So some of you have probably seen these in store, but if all else fails, they are online. That's where I ordered one of mine, and then I happened to be sent 3 of these from the company, and they are these 6-color eyeshadow palettes, and the quality on these is surprisingly good. These are going to run you $7.99 a piece, and I was just really impressed by how bold and how smooth and consistent the shadows were in all of these palettes. So I just kind of wanted to talk through the ones that I have in this video and point out the things I like about them, and then the one overall thing that I can't get past that I don't like about them. Now, Jordana and Milani are under the same ownership, so that kind of explains why perhaps you see some overlap in their lines in certain products. You might think, well, that's really similar to that thing, or that seems like the same formula to this. Milani has not too long ago come out with eyeshadow palettes that look like this. They're called Everyday Eyes. I've got the Smoky Essentials one, the Earthy Elements, and this one is the Must Have Neutrals, or Must Have Naturals, I'm sorry. But these are gonna run you $9.99 a piece, so that's usually the way it goes. Jordana is just a hint cheaper, and I feel like Milani's packaging is probably a little more expensive. Instead of getting a double-ended sponge tip, here you're getting like a double-ended brush. And there are still 6 shadows in each one of these Milani palettes, but you're getting a little bit different configuration. You know, one might be wider, you got 2 over here. And just as far as the quality of these eyeshadows go, I think it's totally there in both lines. You've got shimmery shades that are really smooth and pigmented. You've got matte shades that are very, very bold. I mean, the swatches I'll be showing you throughout this video of the Jordana palettes are done with one swipe of the finger on no primer. So you're just seeing bare bones, like what can it do? But the overall difference that I've noticed in all of these Jordana palettes that I'm going to go through and show you, I feel like we've got shimmery shades, light shades, you've got really, really dark mattes, but there's no like medium mid-tone matte just for a soft crease color. You're either really light or really dark, and there might be some shimmers that fall in between, but as far as just like a soft natural crease shade, I feel like everything that you might put in your crease in any of these Jordana palettes is like one of 2 really dark colors in all of these, you know, like a black or a really dark plum or a dark navy, a really dark black in that one. The odd thing is that the random 3 Milani palettes that I have, they are all more well balanced than that. You've got dark shades, you've got light shades, but in every one of my Milani palettes, I've got at least one color, maybe even more, that can be that soft, you know, neutral crease color that you want for a more natural look. You know, something that's going to create contrast but isn't like a black or near black charcoal. So it just really surprised me that in the 4 palettes I have from Jordana, not one of them seemed to have a color like that where, you know, you've really got all your bases covered within one palette. Now, that doesn't make these palettes unusable by any means. I mean, you could totally go to town with one of these, pull in one of your many other eyeshadow palettes or eyeshadow singles that's got that transition color, neutral matte crease color that you're after. But when I do reviews on palettes, one thing that I always look at is, you know, could it be used just as a freestanding thing and give people that convenience? Like if you just grab that one, it would be everything. And I feel like with these, there's a little something missing. And it just is funny to me that the Milani ones all had that little element in them, and then the Jordana ones did not. But I really, truly, for the price of $7.99, cannot pick apart the quality of the eyeshadows that you are being given, because I do think they're really good. So I want to take you through swatches of each one of these. The first one is the palette called Beachy Keen, and this one is, you know, full of neutrals. You do have a couple shimmery pops. You've got this really light shimmery golden pink at the start of the palette that I think is really nice. A pinky shade, your matte brown, a matte cream, a gold, and then almost a borderline olivey type color. Don't rely on that for a lot of green, but it's kind of like a dusty brownish olive. Then they have a palette called Make Me Matte, and this one is 100% matte. So all the swatches here, free from shine, free from any sort of shimmer. The second shade in this palette I might have thought would be that soft neutral crease color, but sadly it's just a little too light for that. It really blends in with my skin. When I put it in my crease, I don't feel like it shows a whole lot. I would have to do a little bit of maybe mixing with the next deepest shade just to create something that would work there. Your two lightest shades are very, very close to one another, so I mean, one of those I really think could have been that nice soft neutral matte crease. Next one is called Plum Believable, and these shades really look beautiful, and I do have a little bit of a fallout concern with the second to last color. That did cause a lot of glittery issues for me when I was using this before. As a whole, it's a really pretty color scheme here. That second really metallic taupe is gorgeous. Straight up matte plum in here is really nice, and then you've got a near black at the end of the palette, and as you look at this one compared to the next one, you can see they've put a true black in this one called What a Steal, and this one has some really unique shades. That second color is like golden. There's a teeny hint of green coming out of that. Very interesting. A matte navy blue that's super intense. That pretty turquoise, a true rich black, and then let's not forget about the first color in this lineup, which is a pearly white that is so vivid. Like, I mean, there's nothing sheer about that shade whatsoever. And then I should point out on the back of each of these palettes, your colors are numbered, and you've got that sort of like paint by number. Here's a few looks that you can get. One of them says to hang out, to go out, to stand out, and that's the way they're all identified, the looks on the back. But out of all of these shadows from Jordana, I mean, I would say my only real quality concern was like this shade, which I think is a gorgeous, like rosy, soft metallic shade, but it's got so much sparkle in it, it can be hard to control. I think you can like rein that one in a little bit, maybe with a stickier primer or like a cream color base or something. But beyond that, everything worked really well, and I think $7.99 is a super fair price tag for a palette of 6 shadows that are of great quality. I just wish the whole palette was a little more complete, if you know what I'm saying. Just gave me like one more thing, like all of the Milani ones managed to do. But I used the palette in Beachy Keen today, so I'll walk you through the looks so you can see these products in action. I do have a primer on my lids, and I use that very lightest, shimmery, like borderline pinky gold around the innermost corner, and then I patted some of the gold onto the inner part of my lid, and I kind of transitioned out of that color into the pink. I thought it would just like make an interesting little overlap there. I went to my matte brown and just used a smallish crease brush. This is the one from MUA Professional I got at CVS, and just went with that pretty dark matte brown in the crease. And you know, you can blend it out, you can kind of soften it a little bit as you blend. And another thing that can help get a little softer look out of a color like that is taking one of the midtones like the pink and then sort of going right over the edge of that. I used the lightest matte color up under my brow as a highlight. Talking about Jordana, might as well use my Jordana Color Envy liquid liner in Black Envy across the upper lash line, and then I pulled in some of that olive color. I actually did use all 6 shades in this palette. Used the olive and smudged it on my lower lash line and applied some mascara, got some Demi Wispy's lashes on, and that is the finished look. And I do feel like it looks very finished, but like I've said, I think there would be even more opportunities for softer, more natural looks with these palettes if they gave you something that was matte, but not on the darkest end of the matte spectrum, you know? And all that being said, I haven't tried every single palette from Jordana, so maybe if you've tried other ones outside of these 4, you might notice that maybe certain ones had a soft, like neutral mid-tone matte thrown in there. And I think that's something to look for in just about any palette you grab, because it gives you the opportunity to not make your crease shade be the deepest, darkest ones of the bunch. It gives you a little more versatility, and that's what I loved about the Milani palettes. So I hope that was useful for you guys. Thank you so much for taking time to watch, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye.